Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm happy to sew along with you the Betty Bowler bag by Swoon. This is a very, very large bag. This one in particular I am keeping for myself because I'm just in love with it. This is going to be my new carry-on overnight bag. It is absolutely perfect for that use. You could also use it as a purse if you wanted to. If you like very large bags, I would just say extend the handles. These are just kind of handles, not shoulder straps. Let me show you some of the features of this bag. So on each side, it has these 4 slip pockets on the front and on the back. It has this amazing front panel where you can definitely show off some of your accent fabrics, or if you want it to be all solid, you could definitely make accent the pockets as your accents. There's just so many things you can do creatively, I can't say the word, you know what I'm trying to say, with this bag. It has these little tab things for opening and closing. It's got a double zipper pull. When you open it up, it opens it up. It's huge. It is a binding finish. Don't be scared of it. Binding finishes on large bags are, well, this one is a binding finish. The pattern is not a binding finish. It is a drop-in lining. I have altered this one to be a binding finish because I am not good at drop-in linings that are on a top zipper. So this is a slightly modified Betty Bowler bag. But yes, I show you how to do it for sure with a binding finish. And as you can see, it turns out amazing. What else to say? Oh yes, so of course in mine, I've put my typical zipper pocket and 2 slip pockets. The pattern does not have slip pockets, but you can definitely add them. It's so easy to customize this bag. What did I use in this bag? My vinyl is a Daytona Marine vinyl from Fabricville. This amazing upholstery fabric. I don't know if you can hear it. It's fuzzy, it's furry, and I got this upholstery fabric. It was on a closeout sale from Galaxy Kustoms. I'm hoping she's going to get in some more of this fuzzy stuff because I just absolutely love it. All my hardware is from Emmaline bags. My really cute kitty zipper pulls, can you see them there, are from RC Threadcraft. Interfacing in this bag, I did back my upholstery fabric with EB Fuse Heavy just because I wanted to give it a more vinyl type feel to it. I chose to use waterproof canvas as my lining because this bag would completely eat up any kind of woven interfacing because there's so many big pieces in this. So I chose waterproof canvas. That way I didn't have to back that with EB Fuse Light. But if you are using cotton, make sure you back it with EB Fuse Light. My main stabilizer in this, I use Pretty in Pink Sew Foam. I show you in this video how to make the bulk with the foam a lot less around the bound edges. I did test it on my Juki 2010Q and I could get through it just fine. So I believe my way is completely domestic machine friendly. Hopefully it was okay on my Juki 2010Q for the little bit that I did. But again, I did most of this on my Titan 1541S. I do have some Peltex in the bottom just for added stability, and I didn't do piping all the way around because I thought that would make it a little bit too much for the bound edge, and you can kind of see how the bound edge gives it a faux piping look, but I did use some store-bought piping right along these pockets for some accents. What else? I think that is all to really say about this bag. So how about we get to making it?
So you're going to need some rivets, some piping, some binding, some strap ends, 4 1-inch rectangular rings, some number 5 zipper tape, 3 number 5 zipper pulls, and some foam and some Peltex. Okay, you're going to need your 2 base pieces in your exterior and your lining, your 2 connector pieces, your 2 handles, your 4 zipper panel pieces, your 2 lining and your 2 exterior. These are mirrored to one another. your zipper lining, your exterior front and back, and your main panels for your lining. 4 pockets pieces mirror to one another, exteriors and lining pieces. 2 connector pieces, or sorry, these are your pull tab pieces. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do my handles off camera. If you need a class for that, it is in the description below. Okay, so now let's work on our piping pieces. So what we want to do, as you can see here, is I've taken about 1/2 inch of the cording out of my pre-made piping. So what I'm doing is I'm measuring down about 1/2 inch, pulling away some of those basting stitches that held the piping in, pulling the fabric back of my pre-made piping, and I'm going to cut back about 1/2 inch of the cording that is inside. I am going to do that for all 4 7-inch pocket pieces. Once that's done, we're going to take our exterior slip pocket piece, one of them, and we are going to clip this to the top curved side of it. And then I'm going to baste this in place like so. And I'm going to do it for all 4 pieces. Now I have my zipper foot on here so I can get nice and close to that piping. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other 3 pieces. If you didn't get close enough to your piping, you can go in again and try to get a little bit closer as I'm doing here. We look good. Okay, so now I'm going to take one of my lining pieces that matches up, put these right sides together. So now the piping is sandwiched in between the exterior piece and the lining piece. Okay, and then I'm just going to follow my stitch line from when I sewed the piping in to sew the lining piece together with this exterior piece. Then you're going to push these wrong sides together, give them a really good finger press, and then we are going to top stitch right underneath that piping. Once the top stitching's done, I'm going to carry around basting together the other 3 raw edges with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Then that is 1 pocket done. Okay, so once we have all of those done, you're going to take we'll do the front first. So you're going to take 2 of the pocket pieces that are mirrored to one another and line it up with the side and the bottom of a main panel like I'm doing so here, following the shape. Clip it into place. Okay, then I'm just going to take a little bit of double-sided tape on the side that is not clipped in and put it there just so it doesn't shift when we put our handles on. Just enough to hold it in place. I could have used pins here as well, but because I'm using faux leather, I did not want to do that. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and baste all the way around. All right, so let's find the Peltex, how to center the Peltex onto our bottom piece. So I am finding the center of my bottom pieces. I'm going to draw a line from that center mark to that center mark. I'm going to do the same with my Peltex piece, fold it in half, short side, the short ends meeting together, clip my centers, and then I'm going to line that up with the bottom like so, as centered as possible, and then I'm going to go ahead and fuse this on as I am using a fusible Peltex. Okay, so we have our main panels here, and we have our pockets basted on, our bottom piece, and our exterior zipper panels, and we are going to put the foam on as I have here, just basting it on. Now, this is how I like to trim up my foam to make it a little less bulky in the seam allowances. I'm not cutting my front panel. I am kind of cutting the foam at a 45-degree angle within that seam allowance we had, just to reduce that bulk as you can see here. And you're going to do that for all of your foam pieces. Okay, so now we are going to make our 4 connectors. So we're going to take our 2 connector pieces we have here. I have drawn a center line down the middle of these pieces. I'm using some double-sided tape, and I'm going to fold these long edges into those center lines. You can also do this with clips if your machine does not like double-sided tape, but if you use a skinny enough piece of double-sided tape here, it shouldn't interfere with your needle at all, as it'll be within the center of the connector and not where we are top stitching. Okay, and now we're going to fold this in half, short end to short end, and cut it in half to create 2 connectors. You'll repeat with the other side, and in the end we have 4 connectors. Now from the top of one short end, you're going to measure down 1 inch. On the opposite end on the back, you're going to put about 6 inches or so of double-sided tape. You can add a little bit on top here if you like as well, depending what your machine can handle. Then I'm going to bring my rectangular ring to that 1 inch line and stick it to the back like so. So I did that with all 4 of my connectors. So I have a 1 inch folded to the back of all of those. Now I'm taking my main panels, finding my centers, and then 2.5 inches from those center marks. And I'm going to use my 2.5 inch ruler here just because it makes it easier. You just want to make sure that your center marks are definitely centered. Okay, and then 2.5 inches to the left of that center mark lined up, I'm going to take one of those connector pieces, take the rest of the double-sided tape off, and I'm going to use my ruler as a straight edge for placing my connector down like so. So it is covering that unfinished edge of our slip pockets that we made. Do the same with the other side with the ruler to the right of that center line, and use your 2.5 inch ruler if you have one as a nice guide to where to put it. Make sure it's centered, which I am. And then from that fold where our rectangular ring is, I'm measuring down 3/4 of an inch, and this is a guide for when we stitch this on to go across. This will make it so you do not run over your hardware. So I'm going to top stitch up here, across here, and down on here, and do it on all 4 sides. So again, top stitch up one side, and then use that chalk line that we just drew to go across, and then back down the other side. Okay, go ahead and do that with the other 3. So we have that all done. I have put a couple rivets in, backed with some Decoville Heavy for some added decoration, and also put my nameplate up 2.5 inches up. I went ahead and prepared my lining panels already. I do them different than the pattern, but if you want to see how I do them, I do have classes down below in the description. So we're going to take our exterior main panel, and I'm going to put some double-sided tape on like so, outside of the seam allowances. Because we are doing this bag as a binding finish, not as the pattern calls for a drop-in lining. So I am going to use this double-sided tape to help hold my lining panel and my exterior panel wrong sides together. So I'm going to take them, put them wrong sides together, centered as good as possible as I can, and stick it down to that tape, and then go ahead and baste around to hold those together. Do the same with the other main panel pieces. Okay, so now we're going to prepare our zipper panels. So I have to say right here, as for our 4, I don't show it in the video, but for our 4 zipper panel pieces, I have taken a 1/2 inch off of each of the long sides. And what this does is to accommodate for not doing a drop-in lining, because we are doing a binding finish. So what I'm going to do after I've taken off that 1/2 inch off of each side is put some double-sided tape right on the right side of our lining piece. We'll put our zipper tape on, make sure your pulls are on. Our zipper tape is going to be right side up on that lining piece. And I'm going to take the exterior and put it right side up as well. Put some tape on there. You can use clips as well. And then put this right sides together with that lining placed, sandwiching in that zipper teeth, the zipper tape. Then we're going to take this to the machine, and we are going to use our zipper foot and stitch across here with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. So while I'm doing this, just to explain again, off of all 4 of our zipper panels, we have cut a 1/2 inch off of the long straight sides because we are not doing a drop-in lining. So we need to accommodate for the extra that would have been kept there if we were doing a drop-in lining. So again, a 1/2 inch off of each of the 4 main zipper panels. Straight sides. Okay, so once you have those sewn together, we are going to pull our lining pieces and our exterior piece wrong sides together. I'm using a little bit of zipper tape to help hold this in place. You can go ahead and finger press this as well. So first I'm doing my exterior piece, and I am going to press it nice and taut away from the zipper teeth. Flip it over and do the same thing with the lining side, bringing them wrong sides together. You want to make sure that the lining piece is pulled really nice and tight away from the teeth, because we do not want our zipper pull getting hung up on that at all. And then you're going to go ahead and top stitch this with the 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And then once you finish top stitching, you're going to continue around the other 3 raw edges, basting them together in place. And then you go ahead and you do the exact same thing with the other side of the zipper tape. Okay, so now let's prepare our pull tabs. So just like we did our straps, we're going to find our center mark, fold the long edges into the center like so, fold it upon itself again, and then go ahead and top stitch along those folded edges with the 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so now make sure your zipper pulls are pulled into the zipper panel here, and we are going to attach our zipper or pull tabs here. So I am folding my pull tabs in half and putting the raw edges, kind of lining it up center with the zipper teeth on each side. So fold it in half, wrong sides together, and line it up with the zipper teeth. And go ahead and baste those in place. Okay, now that those are basted in place, I am going to take my bottom exterior piece, put it right sides together with this, and if we've done everything right, they should be lined up to be approximately the same width, which mine are. Then I'm going to take my lining piece, put it right sides together with the opposite side of the lining. So now we have that zipper panel sandwiched in between our exterior and our lining bottom pieces. And we're going to go ahead and stitch across there with the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, then we want to pull these panels wrong sides together, once again, like so, with our seam pointing towards the bottom of our panel and top stitch along the seam we just made. That's one side done. The next side is a little more tricky, but still pretty easy. So now we want to take the other ends and bring them together, the exterior pieces like so. And then you're going to bring the lining piece right sides together with the opposite side on the lining as well. And it's going to look like we have formed two loops. Like so. Go ahead and sew across there with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. And this is the trickier part. We need to pull these wrong sides together. So you're going to kind of flip it up and around so our bottom pieces are wrong sides together and it's not twisted like so. And we have a big circle. And then we are going to pull these nice and taut because we do need to top stitch within the circle right along that seam to hold that seam in place, making sure the seam is pointing towards the bottom. It's a little bit awkward, but doable. It's a nice big opening. So kind of just sew within that circle along that seam, making sure you're holding back the pieces that we do not want to be caught in that seam. Okay, so that's done. So now if we've done everything right, these should fit together perfectly. Mine do. So I'm going to go ahead and use a few clips of these raw edges that we have going on here. And then I am going to go ahead and just baste the lining and the exterior together. So we're working with one piece and not worrying about anything folding out of the way. Okay, so there we go. We got our gusset panel done. Now we want to find the centers of our top and bottom. So I am lining up those seams that we had just sewn, like so, pulling it nice and taut, and that will give us the center of our top zip panel. And again, if you need to do it on the bottom, do the same thing. I'm just double checking that mine, I had done my bottom before, making sure it's still nice and centered. So matching up that seam, pulling it taut, and making a snip. And you would do that for both sides. Then we're going to take our main panel, and that is right side up, and our gusset piece, and we have it wrong side out. And we are going to match up the bottom center right sides together like so. I use a lot of clips because I do not want this to shift, and it will because we have foam, so make sure you do use a lot of clips to avoid that shifting. Okay, and then we're going to match up that top center mark and the top center mark of our main panel. Secure it with some clips. Helps to have your zipper undone as well. Makes it a little more flexible. And if we've done everything right, our slip pockets on our main panel and our seam where our bottom and our zipper panel meet should line up. So this seam right here, these two seams should line up. Okay, so once they do line up, you have that fabric evenly distributed. Continue down towards the curve. And then what you're going to find is that our gusset piece looks like it's just a little bit too small for that curve, but really it is not. We just need to put in a few little snips just in the gusset to make that straight piece want to go around the corners. So this just helps distribute the fabric and spread that fabric out so we can make it go around that corner of the main panel, turning a straight piece into a rounded piece. And just kind of push it out like so, and you can see how that works. And lots and lots and lots of clips in this corner, because if it is going to slip at all, it will in the corners. So there's no such thing as too many clips in this situation. Some people also like to hand baste this. Go ahead and do that if you like, or if you don't mind using staples, you can go ahead and staple that as well. You'll just need to take the staples out once we have this sewn together. I just prefer lots and lots of clips. So once you have that one corner done, you're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing with the other corner. Now I'm going to go all along the seam with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now, if I was on my flatbed, I would be holding my bag exactly as I am now with my main panel against the bed of the machine. I'm doing it on my cylinder arm so you can better see what I am doing, as if I did it on my flatbed, my bag would be in the way and you wouldn't be able to see where I am stitching. Okay, so now we are going to do our binding on that edge. I go ahead and do your preferred binding method. I like to use bias tape. I have a class on that down below on how to do that. This is what it looks like once you have your other panel sewn on and your binding done. And at this point, you're good to go for turning it right side out. It's not too hard to do, as it has a big opening. It's just a little bit bulky, a little bit of an arm workout, but well worth the effort. Push out all of your seams and nice and taut. Shape your bag nicely. The binding helps give this a really good shape. And then once that's done, all that's left to do is to rivet on or sew on your handles. And then we're done.
That's it. That's all, folks. What did you think? I think it works really well as a bound bag. That's the way I will be making them going forward. I also have a sew-along class on this that we did for April 2022. So if you wanted a more slowed down type of tutorial, you can always join the membership side to see this. And it's 8 hours worth of kind of a sew along showing how to make this bag. Yeah, so you can find that information all down below as well. Otherwise, yeah, that's it. That's all. I'm in love with this bag. I truly am. Again, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. And if you would like to support my channel further, you can go ahead and buy me a coffee down below, or you can join the membership side and see some of the amazing things we're doing over on that side as well. Anyways, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.